He's like, who's gonna believe that I killed a legendary hero, a lowly human like me, and this, that, and the other? And they're like, you know what? He's right.
He goes, and let's be real, he was trespassing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Irbal Sinergy. It's a shop. I'm so used to this, I don't pay it any mind. I just gave it attention, so I guess I do. I'm your host, Senji. With me, my co-host, as always, Irby.
What's up, listeners? I mean, he might not pay to y'all clapping, but I'm here. I'm here for y'all clapping, showing us your loves out there. Appreciate y'all listening to the show.
A true
So,
man of the people.
I might be.
You
Like,
gotta, I think I might. I'll have to think about mine. But do you have a flavor this week, Irby?
I got a bunch of different flavors or things that I like, but yeah, I think the Spell Blaze has some potential. Uh, I think Legendary Hero is Dead might be an interesting one to watch. I did the part that was funny to me was when she was like, because the main character, Tuya or Tuya, I think. Yeah, he has like a weird fetish for putting stockings on radishes. So
Oh, he ain't the only one.
yeah, and so he then the legendary hero showed up or something, and he tried to talk to his friend, and then Tokia was trying to go and talk to her, and she was like, "Why don't you go in the corner and play with your meat some more?" or what she said, "Your radish." I was like, man, that's hilarious. So
Yeah, it was it's
it's
been on
well
my list,
timed.
so it's. I'm glad I started. I also started um To Your Eternity.
Oh my goodness,
I'm on. I finished the first episode. I haven't started the second episode yet, but
the first episode fucked me up.
bruh, did it?
Yeah, made me real sad.
Yeah, I was just like, cause the
But
man,
it,
I think he really just didn't want to be alone.
yeah,
He was tired of being alone, so he set off on this journey, and then like, damn, like I can't help but think that like after he died and the orb, which became a wolf, took on his form, the fact that that thing died like 7 or 9 more times just to get to a town, like this kid was never gonna make it.
yeah. It was just sad. He was like, "You'll remember me, boy." I was like, "Oh God," and I was thinking, I was like, I thought I was like, man, I'd rather go before my dog go, because oh no, I'd rather my dog go before I go, because my dog will be super sad. So I was like, man, I
Dogs
won't
get
want to do that to my
depressed,
dog.
man.
They do.
Yeah, I had we tried to mate one of my dogs, and like she was not having it, but like the male dog, because we kept him for a couple days to like try to get them acclimated with each other, and like he was trying, but just, like she wasn't having it. But like he became like so in love with her. The guy said like he got depressed and like died.
Yeah, dog. Animals will do that. I forget. There's some animals like they partner for life. When the other partner dies, they die like shortly afterwards. I'm like, oh man.
Some a lot of you'd be surprised. People are like that too. I've noticed when I was working in a nursing home that like there was a good chance that if the spouse, if the woman died in a marriage, if the woman died first, the man followed within a week or two, and like it never failed that whenever a married couple, the woman passed, the man followed not too long after. It was rare that the man kept living, but it almost always vice versa. If the man died first, they wouldn't be sad, but like they wouldn't die soon after. It'd just be like, you know what I mean. So it's interesting that it kind of shows that like even though we're intelligent, we are still mammals like other mammals.
Yeah, yeah. It gets. Oh man, you're in for like a damn. Should I even keep watching this? I'm already messed up already. But the first episode, that was what I told her. I was like, I started watching it, and then the first episode happens. Like, you know what? I'm not for the crowd this stupid rock. And then I was like, all right, I got. Let me check the next episode. Yeah, but yeah, it's. I think I watched all the seasons, and I think it was coming back. But I was like, man, sad. It's real tear jerkers at parts.
I'll put more time into it then because I started it, but like I just sometimes I start and I don't. I've been rewatching Supernatural as well, so like when I'm home and I'm playing games, I'll throw on Supernatural. You know what I mean? Because like when I'm watching anime, I want to pay attention to anime. So like I need to throw on something I've already seen. When I'm playing something, I need to pay attention to.
Yeah, because this ain't the one for that. 'Cause I was like, man, I was like, no. I was like, you kidding me? I'm like, what? What? Man. Mm. But yeah. All right, continuing. What's you had a flavor? Was that your flavor?
If I had a flavor, even though it's not my usual flavor, it'd have to be like me realizing that that boy was never gonna make it.
Yeah.
It's like
He
my whatever this thing is died 7 times just trying to find civilization, pissed on itself, and like all this other nonsense. My
yeah,
boy
you
was
haven't
never gonna make
even
it.
you haven't even met any other main characters yet.
No, no, I like the next. Like you know how some animes like when the episode is, I guess like sometimes they won't show ending credits
Yeah,
because like
this one does show some stuff.
the first episode didn't really have ending credits, so like I saw a little girl in the next episode, but like I stopped there and just turned it off and did something else. So I haven't
Buddy.
met anyone of further
Ooh,
importance.
buddy. Ooh, buddy. Yeah. Mm.
But continue on to Liar Liar Pants on Fire, episode 6, Treasures and Darkness? Treasures and Darkness. It's been you know what? Not too much has gone in this episode, so I'm gonna steamroll these notes. I don't really need my tablet for it. So it's been 30 minutes. That's the one thing I'm gonna mention. It was 30 minutes since the last episode when Noah challenged Hidito to a game. The game, obviously from the name, was the treasure hunt thing, and how the rules of this game was they each had partners, which Noah's partner was Shiroyuki, and Hideto's partner was Rina. They're in this building that I believe was separated by 7 floors, maybe, and the objective is to find the room that the partner is hiding in. Now, um, she didn't explain the rules to Hito too much, so we were learning about the game as he was learning about the game. Each turn, you get to ask a question that is a yes or no question. The person has to answer truthfully. So, like, obviously, you ask. She was asking like good questions, like, "Is your partner above or below me?" It was like it's a yes or no, but it's also a two-part. Like, she gets eliminates 2 whole floors, and then like once you answer a question, I think you get to move three
Oh,
to
I said that one that's her like. Do you say her second ability? Because you can only answer one question, but she has one that lets her ask two per turn.
yeah, she has an
Yeah,
ability to like lets her go
yeah.
twice per turn. So I think which was what was weird in this game is like I think you can only move 3 spaces, but like she was moving at some point she was moving 6, which was like taking both her turns at once. I think just to avoid the flaw in the game, you- she has to take 3 and then another 3. But you only can move X amount of spaces. So She was moving one space, which made no sense to me. But so that was how the game progressed, and like Rena and what's the hacking girl's name? What was it? Not Akabane. Um,
Akatsuchi? I have no idea.
I forget, but like smart the hacking girl that's always in the earpiece. They're like trying to figure out how to you know hack this, rig this game, and like Rena. This game really showed off how smart Rena was. What she kind of had to be to pretend to be Science, because she was a 7 star, so she by purely by deduction on she figured out where Shiroyuki was. And the thing about this game is they each have 3 chances to answer the question, but you can use a point from your answering to move your person. So they were going back and forth to find each other and moving, and like towards the end of the game, because this game took up the whole episode, but it was like really a simplistic game. Towards
Yeah.
the end of the episode, towards the end of the game, when Hidito had to wait for Shirayuki to like change rooms, and he had to pass her by because you have to walk to the room you're changing to. He told her like it's gonna be cold around 10. Make sure you turn the air on. I was like, all right, that's he's gonna find her with like the temperature or something. Um, so when the game progresses and like she moves, Noah moves Shirayuki. Rina automatically figures out what 3 rooms it could possibly be. Due to it can't be above or below him because he would hear it. It can't be above or below her because she didn't hear it. And if Noah was smart, she would put Shirayuki just beyond his moving space capabilities, which was only 3 spaces on the board. And I was like, bro, that right there was big brain. I mean, honestly, that could have been a flavor if I remembered it correctly, because that was just pure genius. So after that, after what seemed like Kirito, like she couldn't stomp him, she completely moved Shirayuki at random, which turned out to be really unlucky because when it hit 10, she turned the air on, and she happened to be right under Hirito. So Hirito found her, but she used some, I think, illegal ability to force his move null and void. And at this point,
Alter Fate was the thing.
yeah, and at this point, he already revealed that the way he found out where she was that Rena is actually in the control room that like monitors all the classrooms and tells you which one is which. So she goes down to catch Reno, who's actually Sanzi, and like she's still playing the role. And when everyone gets together, Hideo reveals to like, nope, you didn't beat me. It's like, what are you talking about? Well, I used this really handy card called Pinch Hitter. Who you actually beat was Shirayuki, so I'm still undefeated.
Yeah.
So she has her dramatic moment. Oh my god! And for some reason, her shoes rip off.
I thought she was trying to set up a case or something for that. And I was
I
like, what are you doing?
It was so weird and out of place, but he gets her to admit that the master, the puppeteer behind the strings is one of the hold on, I have that written down, is the headmaster of the 13th district, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so Hideo goes back into character and says, "Who do you think I am? I don't care who it is. If it's a game, I'm gonna win." And blah blah blah. And actually puts her shoe on for some reason. I don't even know why it came off. But that's how that episode ended. Again, it's not like, oh my god, we got to talk about this, or oh my god, we got to watch the next episode. But entertaining show. I'm entertained.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There wasn't much for me to that I wrote down for that anyway. So yeah, left it in your capable hands for a synopsis.
Yeah, it's easier to do synopsis on episodes like that. It's just like it's not really much to talk about.
Yeah,
If you're gonna make the whole episode a game, I'm just gonna summarize the game.
yeah. So, well, yeah, like to see where this one continues. Hopefully, it's something good. But yeah, on to the new show. The legendary hero is dead. Um, Season 1, episode 1. The legendary hero is dead. So when I was picking out new shows, I was like, there was one I saw. I was like, oh, this is cool. But then I seen it also was classroom based. So I was like, ooh, we might be merging the two shows if we did those together. So I saw this one. It was a little quirky on the premise and like what they were doing. I was like, this may be a good show. So we'll give it a shot.
Give
So it
it a
starts,
try.
yeah, it starts off talking about the legendary hero Sion Braden. He's going to shut down the gates of hell, and then we get to this guy, uh, Tuka Scott. He's a farmer, and he's picking out giant radishes in his garden. Um, and his childhood friend Yuna Yanis, uh, she comes over and she's like, why are you putting stockings on the radish? She's like, oh, it has such a shapely whatever. I was like, oh man, this guy's a pervert already. Not even like 3 minutes in. I'm like, good God. Man. But yeah, so they start talking. Yeah, she, I guess she was sitting down, and this was another funny part that was kind of crazy. He starts to like pull up her boots, and then like she thoroughly like stomps him. I'm like, ooh, yeah, my guy, he down bad, he hurt.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, like having daydreams about pulling up stockings on radishes, and I'm like, oh man,
it's a
weird.
weird obsession, and like at least two other people in that village have the same obsession.
Yeah, thigh shepherd, they called him something. Um, yeah, and then so while they're doing that, a devil shows up and it's in the village. And this was another funny part. My man, he digs a hole with like the bamboo spikes, like Vietnam style, and he cooks some meat because it was going to the devil was going to eat Yuna, and he was trying to like divert his attention and kill it. Doesn't do it. The devil takes a sniff like, I hate pork. And then this when Sion Braden shows up and he's like, oh man, I like I'm sorry I'm late or whatever. The hero spiel, he kills the devil. And I'm like, oh, it's nice to save him. And then he's like, oh, you're the same one from 3 years ago. Of course I remember that smile. And she's like, all lovey dovey. And this is where my flavor came in. And the guy Tuka tries to enter, and she's like, oh, why don't you shut up and go to the corner and play with your meat some more? I was like, dang, got him, killed him, massacred my boy.
TKO, he's out.
Someone called the school nurse. Yeah. And then so this is when the trouble starts. There's some noise, and everyone thinks it's another devil, and the hero's like, oh nope, that's just my stomach. I'm really hungry. And he's like, oh, hey, it's a barbecued pork. And then he walks over here, and I was like, okay, uh, what, he just disappeared or teleported. And then I was like, oh, the hole's there. And my man's dead in the hole. Like, bro, you couldn't have like sensed it. You couldn't have like used a teleportation skill, like anything, just to get out of there.
Bruh. Trash legendary hero.
He is the absolute worst legendary hero ever. And so, but yeah, it was funny because she invited him to go to dinner, and he was like, "Oh, I want someone to meet now," and then just falls in the trap.
I smell barbecue.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh, you killed the legend hero. The gates can't be sealed without him." And then this is when he had his harebrained scheme. He's like, "Who's gonna believe that I killed a legendary hero, a lowly human like me, and this, that, and the other?" And they're like, "You know what? He's right.
He goes, and let's be real, he was trespassing.
Trespassing. I have the right to protect my meat against trespassers who want to eat it."
Oh, yeah. What a weird start.
But yeah, it was different, but like different in a way that you could enjoy it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. So he's like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to say legendary hero is missing, and we're going to go out back and bury his body, and they did. I was like, man, it's terrible. And then he goes to sleep, and he wakes up looking like the legendary hero. And I'm like, oh man, he did pulled some type of switcheroo, or I figured like this might be like a body takeover curse when it ends
Hmm.
or something. I was like, oh, what kind of sorcery is this? And then so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go over to Yuna's house and see. Maybe this is just like a little random effect. And Yuna's like, oh, legendary hero. Oh, you came to visit me, but how on earth are you here? You're supposed to be dead. And he's like, oh, I'm alive. And then he makes her dress up for him. I'm like, this guy.
Yo, and she actually no hesitation,
Yeah.
but then she's like,
I,
this man stink.
yeah. And so she's like, the legendary hero's here, and he's looking at me with those eyes of longing. And like, I was thinking, like, it's all perspective because I saw that meme that was like the difference between like harassment and like flirting is like how you look. And I was like, this pretty much sums it right here because she's ready for the legendary hero. But my boy, she was like, nope, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh, he's not doing too well either. And his eye, one of his eyes falls out. And then she's just like, oh, I don't believe you. You're not the legendary hero. You're not Tuka. And then this is when they hear the necromancy lady. Um, and she's trapped over his hole that what you call him went out.
Bro, these hoes
Henri,
are OP.
yeah, they undefeated. They like truck con.
Yeah, like, they out here just claiming lives.
Yeah, truck con. Um, we find out her name is Henri Hangisworth, and she traveled to legendary hero. And this is when they have their moment. The legendary hero told her to bequeath his body to someone she deems worthy of saving the world. And unfortunately, it was him, um, which is sad because he's not strong enough, I guess, in a way. Because part of the drawback of this spell is that you have to use your own mana to sustain it and the sword.
That motherfucker got no mana.
Yeah, no mana.
He can't use either.
Yeah. So, yeah, and he doesn't want to do it, but you see this tag, it's called Coffin of the Living, and like his essence and being and everything is like in his head there. So if that thing's crushed, then he gets crushed. So yeah, so essentially she blackmails him to being the legendary hero because he wants to live. So then they go to town and like the women are like falling all over themselves to say, "Oh, the legendary hero," and such. And then they go see the magic shop and see a little wand that Yuna likes, and they're like, "Oh, how much is it? It's 10,000." And he's like, "Oh man, can you guys get out?" And my boy Tuka goes in there to negotiate.
Yo, this man, he might suck at everything else, but he is good at negotiating.
Yeah. So so then they go to the tavern, eat. They get the meal comped. They see some woman and they're like, "Oh, hey, legendary," and then start talking to him. And the bodyguard, she's like, "Oh, we'll check to see if you're real with our bodyguard because he fought alongside him before." And it's like, "We'll see." And so they get to fighting, and his eye pops out. He's like, "Oh no, my eye!" And then we flash over to Yuna and Henri at the guild, and my man Kyle Osment comes in, starts talking to him. It's like, oh, he also traveled with the hero. And then we flash back to the legendary hero when he's about to get burned at the stake. And then Kyle shows up, and he said he's the real deal. And he did like the sword and did all the stuff. And like, oh yeah, he's real. And then so they go out, they escape, and we find out that his mana, Tuka's mana, is really weak. He's like a baby. And Yuna's not much further.
Yeah, she's like one
Um,
level higher.
yeah, she's a toddler. And so then they're gonna fight for a right to duel to be a hero. So that was it. Not much left to do.
No, no. We'll see what the it's almost seems comedy driven show brings us next episode.
Be nice. Might be a new breath of fresh air with this
Indeed.
one.
Did you see
So
the trailer to Spy Family season 2?
I did not watch it, but I know it's coming out October 15th.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah,
is Eminence of Shadows season 2, October, I think in October.
yeah. I haven't seen it.
That's fine.
Evidence of Shadow. I don't.
Eminence of Shadow. I think it's
Evidence of
one you
Shadow.
watch on Amazon, but it's a really good isekai. Guy is OP as hell. But like
See, I ain't got Amazon.
basically like he has this dream world, like this fantasy he wants to live in, and when he gets isekai, he's like um tricking the women he's saving into like believing this fantasy, but everything he's telling them is actually true. Like he doesn't know it, but like everything he said is actually happening. And
Interesting.
he just thinks that the girls have been like playing along with him this whole time, but like no, everything he said is going
Yeah,
down.
yeah. Mm. Yeah, I think I saw something about something similar to that before where the guy all he does is speak and like that's a superpower and it's in existence. So he can never be beat. And his power can change the physics of the world and everything.
Hmm.
So I was like, huh, interesting.
All right, well, I will carry on with Villain Saga episode 10, Ragnarok. My man Thorko, he was launching big rocks like a cannon all to the camp because like they weren't doing anything. If you guys remember previous episode, King Swain left 4,000 men under Canute's leadership to, I guess, take care of the London Bridge or at least just keep them
Taking
occupied.
care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Taking care of business.
Um, but Thorko, he got impatient because they weren't Canute wasn't doing anything but I guess praying every day. So he just started launching the big rocks like a cannon and crushing people. Um, the Canute's men were actually getting tired of waiting for him, and all he was doing was getting blessed. And they wanted to fight, or at least they wanted to do something other than just wait there. Um, I forget his name. There's the guy that's like watching over Canute, he goes in there and he kind of like tries to tell him like, hey, like we're gonna keep you safe. Never mind what's going on out there. And while not Canute, while Thorkill is throwing a tantrum, some guy goes up there and like tries to talk to him and is like, hey, relax. They, I hear the main army left and left Prince Canute, and that seems to get Thorkill excited. So don't know what his beef was Prince Canute, but we finished that part with him excited. We go over and Thorfinn is clearly dreaming about Vinland, I'm assuming, and like his dad's there, his mom's there, his sister's there, like the town's there, and in his dream, like his dad, it seems like he's trying to warn him about like give up your need for revenge. Um, and at some point they walk over to the hill and like I guess they see villagers, the village being attacked, and like people shot arrows at them, and like he had to relive his father's death in a dream. So he wakes up in a like where they keep the horse and they feed the horse. He was sleeping on some hay and he couldn't get back to sleep, so he went for a walk. Askeladd's guys who were feasting and eating, they got two of them one got into an argument and they ended up fighting to the death. Bjorn told one of the guys like, whatever happens, just let Askeladd know we lost somebody, no matter who's the one who dies. Thorfinn, he makes his way up a hill and actually runs into Askeladd, and Askeladd's like trying to make small talk and like saying how big Thorfinn has gotten, and Thorfinn like cuts him off like, quit with the small talk. Let's not pretend I'm a part of your crew. I I'm here for one reason, to um to take your life one day, and I won't stop until that happens. And Askeladd, even though Thorfinn's given him the usual stubborn I only care about killing you attitude, he's actually like talking about history. He's like, hey, do you know where these came from? These were actually the Romans who made this, and they were so advanced in civilization, but the Saxons attacked, and they didn't have the knowledge, and this is what it became. Now we're attacking the Saxons, and they're. I think what he was trying to get at is that, um, not all the time, like violence doesn't always make things better, because like you had an advanced civilization and the Saxons came along and they just killed them, and like without any knowledge on how to keep the technology or like the architecture um going, they officially like regress as a species,
Civilization.
civilization. Yeah, they regressed, and now like I don't know if Askeladd meant to send this message, but like now you have pirates attacking the Saxons who like have like with their version of the civilization, they'll regressed, and like pirates mainly live in the ocean, so like really it's kind of like it's gonna regress further because they're not gonna live there, so the village is gonna essentially become nothing. So a little talk with Doors about that, while some dude from the Canute's army was racing towards the main army on a horse. Aslak calls him over and actually lets us know that Thorkill defeated Canute's army very easily. Like he gathered the strongest people who would follow him and started marching towards the army with 500 people, the main army. So the guy was heading towards the main army. Um, Let me see. Thorkill. He also revealed that Thorkill kidnapped the Prince Canute. And upon learning that, Askeladd immediately beheaded the guy that was on the horse and said whether we make a deal with King Swain or the London people, there's gonna be a huge reward for Prince Canute, and we're gonna get it. So that's where we ended that.
That somebody. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the fact that my boy Thorfinn, in his dream, he was like everything's right or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you could have been living that life had you stayed off the boat. Act like you're a victim in this. You did it to yourself, my guy.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. But yeah, also how my boy just sleeping next to a dead body. I'm like, it's
Was he?
crazy. Yeah. You didn't see the axe taking out the dude's body just sitting there?
Nah, I didn't. I'll be honest.
I was like, man, my man just sleeping next to a dead body.
He's probably the one that killed him.
Yeah, probably. He's crazy.
Oh, Thorfinn.
But yeah. But yeah, I did think it also messed up how I said you already finished your synopsis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. But I also think it was messed up how they sliced that man's neck off to deliver the horse when he asked for help.
Yo, and it killed the horse. He said bury the
Yeah,
body and the horse. I was like, whoa.
yeah. And I was like, all because I was like, why did he do that? And basically it was because they wanted to he wanted to make the odds worse, I guess. 100, it's like 5-1 odds. And I'm like, really? That's what you're gonna do? He's like, I don't know. We'll win. We might lose. We'll see when we get there. I'm like, really, really?
He kept mentioning that Ragnarok is coming, by the way. I didn't bring that up. The title of the
Yeah,
actual episode. He kept mentioning that Ragnarok was coming. Um,
yeah. The twilight of something. He said, and he cut his head off. I was like, really?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Askeladd has like moments of like he seems like wise and like a true warrior, but then like I think my man is just like stuck in a path of greed and like a leader of pirates, and he kind of like enjoys the savagery part of it as well.
yeah. I'm a savage, classy, bougie.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like, man, like, you did that. Why? Craziness.
Shall we proceed?
Oh yeah, I almost thought we was done. I forgot all about Reign of Seven Blades. So season 1, episode 3, Soldier, the Reign of the Seven Spell Blades. So forget old girl. She was fighting. She was the succubus. She gives birth to like this creature to fight the 5th year senior, the old man. I'm like, oh man.
That was fucking wild.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. Which the old man, he's a necromancer. Um, so yeah, it was interesting fight. Nanao shows up and she's like, "Oh, I'll hold him off while you guys run." And she's like, "This seems like an appropriate place to end," or I don't think she said end, or appropriate place to die or something. Um, so the guy necromancy, he's a big old spine to wrap around the weird creature she just did, and some guy shows up named Alvin Godfrey, and he just like destroys both their monsters. And he's a student body president. And then the guy that shows up, who may be my new favorite character in the show, Carlos Withrow. He shows up to lead them out.
I was like, there had to be a Carlos in this show.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. So then they get to talking. Oliver's mad that Nanao was going to sacrifice herself. And then we get to Nanau's backstory, how she recounts her time on the battlefield, and she led a troop of like led her small contingent of men against 50K or 50,000 men, and she's fighting people. She's fighting a dude, and like she's up cutting them down, and she's like, General, I want to make a request. I want to duel the strongest of your army. And he's like, you fool, you killed the strongest and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, man,
She's like,
okay.
no.
Yeah,
What a slap in the face. It's like, I hear your son is the strongest in the army. I want to fight him. You bitch, you just killed him.
sure did. I was like, man, that is crazy. Um, so then she's about to get speared because they surround her and they're like, we're not even going to ask you your name because we're going to make sure you don't go down in history or anything or something. And then that's when but was it Flanagan, Michelle Flanagan or something?
It was Goldilocks' dad.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last name. It's not Flanagan or something. It's well, Michelle or Shelley's dad shows up and he comes to save her, and we find out the reason why she was the way she is with trying to just fight and like end her life and such is because she wanted to experience a fight with no negative feeling between her and the adversary, and apparently it's like some state of bliss or some samurai ritual thing where um, when that happens, it's like they're. I guess you can liken it to like their Valhalla. Just
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Which reminds me, I just remember that Canute was praying to a cross. I'm like, when did he become?
Christian.
Yeah, but then I also think that he's not actually Norse. Now that I was thinking about it, so I don't know. That's weird. Um, but yeah, so they convince Nanau to stop doing her whole little suicide brigade that she's on, and so I think Oliver and Nanau know that they were always fated to be with each other because Shelley was like, yeah, they cross blades and they know that they're fated to be each other. They're like, oh, their blades are such strong at such a young age. I'm like, okay, okay, yeah, um, yeah, and then so they get the class starts and they asked Mr. Garland could he wield a spell blade, which we found out that spell blade is a one spell distance guaranteed hit, like kind of like Jujutsu. And there's six spell blades right now.
Oh, does that mean this is about to get real complicated?
Yeah, kind of sort of, I guess. There's six right now, but it's supposed to be seven.
Domain expansion.
Yeah. Um, and then Richard Anders, he challenges Oliver to a duel because he's just trying to showboat, and now like notices his like posture change. He's like, "Hey, are you planning on losing?" And she's like, "If you're planning on losing, then why even fight him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she's right." And then so Shelly, she diffused the situation. She's like, "Yeah, Richard's fixated on showing his strength." And this, that, the other. It's probably my fault. Like we were with each other, and like I might have been a little stronger than he was. Da da da, da da do.
What I don't
And
what I don't get about the that guy is in the last episode when Oliver and Nadal fought, Shelley asked him, "Do you think you could have took either of them on?" And like he got humbled. So what made him think in the 24 hours that passed, he now had what it takes to take on my boy Oliver?
I think it's been a little further than 24 hours.
Okay, 48, maybe week. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say there's been some time. Um,
You think he got his training arc in?
if he had a hyperbolic time chamber, sure. Or if he learned spell for making you speed up magic time or slow down time so you can train. Yeah,
I don't know. He ain't that guy.
it might be that guy.
Nah, he's not
Um,
him.
I don't know. But anyhow, so they run. One of their friends run up and says Katie ran to save the troll from being executed, and they flash to where she's at. She's not budging, and she doesn't want to move. And the teacher hits her with like a taser spell, and she drops like a sack of potatoes. And his name is Darius Greenville. And they're giving him a little speech, and all the other teachers shows up and they're like, "Hey, we outlawed torture magic, teaching kids years ago." He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna change my stripes. I'm a tiger." And then we reach one fourth year, high level fourth year, Vera Milligan. Uh, there's a objection file to save the troll. Troll death injunction. It's in evidence now being reviewed. And then, yeah, I looked at the troll. The troll looked like it might have been controlled. Because it was sitting there like remorseful in the cage. Like, I don't want to be in this cage. I just want to be out frolicking in the lands.
Yeah, I remember when it attacked, like someone in the crowd was waving their wand before it went like hostile.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah. So that happened. And then we found out that Anders has officially issued a challenge for Nanau and Oliver. I'm like, really, my guy? Really, my guy? That's what
Both
you
of
want to
them.
do? Yeah. Goof of them.
He said, "I'm ready."
I'm young and I'm ready. But yeah, yeah, it's heating up. Looks like it's getting good. I think I might have picked two bangers for a change.
Listen, I was in a slump for a while.
Hey, I gotta bounce back like it's magic.
All right. So shall we finish off with Jujutsu and then wrap it up?
Yeah, you know it.
Okay.
Yeah. The Jutsu Kaisen, chapter 236, heading south. Yeah, so my first initial thought was like, is this a flashback? Because they said something. And I was like, is this the afterlife? Because I was like, they normally do that with your life perspective passing through you, passing you by. And so we get to Gojo said he's drawn, he gives a convoluted, whole bunch of spiel of this that, and the other. And eventually we get to the part where he said he drew a line as like a living being, a living creature. And I was like, what does that even mean? So then he said he's going to teach Sukuna love, which reminds you of the lady that was like, yeah, I'm going to teach Sukuna love. She ended up like merging with him or something. Um, but yeah, I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to like the present day, and my Sukuna explains the involatility. Gojo's cut in half, laying on the ground. I'm like, damn. I was like, where's that boy where like it stops stuff previously, and then you can put itself back together?
Yo, I was just like surprise revive. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like something for my guy. Um,
I guess this fight boiled down to like Gojo. I guess he didn't understand the Maharaga enough.
yeah, he probably didn't. I have no idea,
Because
but I
Sukuna
was
was
like,
saying
man,
something about like while it's adapting, if it gets hit by anything else, the adaptation gets sped up. So that's broken.
yeah.
Where's the
So I
fairness
was
in
like,
that?
there's no fairness. But yeah, it was crazy. I was like, man, my boy dead.
Bruh,
Man,
if we lose Megami, bro, Itadori lost everyone.
sure did. But I ain't sad at it. Bill's character.
Yeah, it builds depression. I think it builds for him.
It might build for him or it builds character. Who knows?
We
But yeah,
shall find out.
we will find out. Because I was like, man, I don't believe it. Y'all on me.
All right.
But
Anything
yeah.
else you want to talk about, Irby?
No, that was it.
All right,
Excited to
guys.
do this new stuff.
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you as always. You're far too kind. If you enjoyed, like, comment, share. I know all the people clapping will. Peace.
Peace.